what were some of your best memories behind the scenes of Talladega Nights? When we come running around the back of the house screaming anarchy, the guy who played the neighbor was in the house as I soaked him with that water hose. He was sitting in the window and I was just freaking beaming him with it.
Like, do you still talk to...
I met John C. Reilly for the first time at Grimey's in Nashville like 2 months ago. And was like, hey, you know the kid from Talladega Nights does music down here? He's like, oh man, I didn't know whatever happened to him. And I saw him the next morning. So that was wild. When they run the car through the house, they bought that house and run a car through it. We walk in and they handed us two, I call them Walmart bats. When we call action, that nightstand over there, pulverize it, and then run around behind the couch, grab that vase and throw it at the wall and it'll shatter. The nightstand was marble. I went to town on that friggin' marble nightstand. Houston puts me in a full Nelson and picks me up, starts spinning me over his head and they call cut. And then they call reset. And then here comes another marble table, family picture and rotary phone, and we do it all over again. What's going on, y'all? Shameless product placement. My name is Grayson Russell, and you are watching Like a Farmer podcast, baby.
Hey, y'all, it's Pat. Welcome to another episode of Like a Farmer. Today's episode probably going to be on the top of your list when you're driving to work because it's Wednesday. Whether you're on YouTube or listening to this podcast, we got Grayson Russell joining the show today. And if you've seen Talladega Nights, he's got one of the most iconic lines ever. But then country music, and the stuff that we're going to talk about country music today is like him on a trajectory that he was in Hollywood and it's all the entertainment business. So we're going to talk about it all. As always, continue to like, comment, subscribe, share, do whatever you got to do to be like a farmer. Let's get into it. Grayson.
Yeehaw. Thank you for having me, sir.
I'm going to do a segment right off the bat.
Fire away. Hit me with it.
It's called Cut to the Chase, presented by Case Knives, okay? And it's just as simple as this. And like, when you think about the entertainment industry, that could be television, it could be music, it could be whatever. But like right off the bat, why the transfer from movies to music?
So I started touring doing gospel with my folks when I was 5. So I've always done music to one extent or another. When we were, Talladega Nights was an accident. So Dad went fishing. He had a tournament fish. Me and Mama were bored. And the audition was in the newspaper at Clay Chalkville High School in Birmingham. And that was it. She took me. I couldn't read English. I had to sound out everything. And so my audition was the dinner table scene. The teacher asked me what was capital of North Carolina. I said Washington, D.C. She said, no, you're wrong. I said, you got a lumpy butt. To my knowledge, that's the only scripted line I had in the whole movie. The rest was them realizing that me and Houston, who played my brother, were ignorant enough to not be nervous. So I'm going to come at you like a spider monkey. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. All that was them just being like, these kids will yell whatever. So let's just let them.
And, that is like,
yes, sir.
It's one of those things where you are now in a position that that's not what you're going to hang your hat on. You know what I'm saying? But it's still one of those things like, it's fucking iconic.
Well, I appreciate it. And that's the thing. Michael Clark Duncan, big guy from the Green Mile, who played the pit crew chief.
Okay, yep.
Set me up with his manager at the premiere. And that's how I was able to stay in it. But while we were doing Talladega Nights, I had my first band, which was a Bee Gees cover band. So there's a deleted scene of me singing How Deep Is Your Love in Talladega Nights right after Ricky's wife leaves him.
At that age? Yeah. Do you have that?
It's somewhere. We've got it somewhere. But that's the thing. I've done music my whole life. And so I've had a Southern rock band the past 8 years. Skinny hops in with us when we're doing that. And then we just got asked about opening for Skinnerd. So we'll see. And I've been really blessed. I just get to do one when I'm not doing the other. I've got a show on Amazon right now called Blue Ridge, which is Blue Ridge the series. It's like a Hillbilly Hallmark. I play the Village Idiot, which is awesome. And so I'll do that during the week and then go play music on the weekends. And that's kind of how it works for me.
Where are you originally from?
Clanton, Alabama. It's got a big Peach water tower on the side of the interstate.
See, we're going to be here all fucking day.
Good.
But good. I mean, you have the rodeo tonight. So because you get it more than anybody on the movie TV show side, like what has been something that has been kind of on the top of your list of achievements so far outside of, because I'm saying Talladega Nights because that was, like I said, I mean, that number one, the movie as a whole,
yes, sir,
on a lot of people's probably Mount Rushmores, in my opinion, but
I like them all for different reasons. I've done 12 or 13 of them.
Of what, movies?
Films, yes, sir. So the Wimpy Kid movies, if you ever seen Diary of a Wimpy Kid, I played Fregley, the weird kid with the glasses and then all the hair, the want to see my secret freckle, like that's my thing. I'm going to get a bucking bull at some point and name it Secret Freckle. I want me a 1,200-pound behemoth named Secret Freckle. Anyway, sidebar. The last movie I did got nominated for an Oscar. It was a movie with Tom Hanks called Greyhound. It's a World War II Navy movie. Hardest movie I had ever done, hardest movie Hanks had ever done, which made me feel a whole lot better about it. About just the sheer amount of weight it took to pull it off. That's the one I'm the proudest of. The cool thing is, as I'm getting older, I'm able to kind of comprehend a little more of the weight of the things that I've been blessed enough to accomplish. I'll have guys come up to me. I had a dude come up to me in Red Door in Midtown in Nashville. And he said, "Hey man, the only reason I have the relationship with my father that I do is because Talladega Nights was the only movie we could tolerate watching and being in the same room." And he said, had that film not come out, had it not been done, I would not have a relationship with my dad because we hated each other. I had another guy, it was like the day I shipped out to Iraq, I was having a friggin' panic attack and was having to babysit some stuff in a warehouse and looked up and Talladega Nights was on the TV and that was my family's favorite movie. And that was that little bit of peace I needed. Be like, hey, dude, this is what you're here to do. It's what you're supposed to do. Breathe. It's all going to be all right. And it did. And so I'm getting to have those moments. I got to sit down with Billy Bob Thornton on a documentary he was doing. And he was a huge Wimpy Kid fan, which made no sense to me at all. But Greyhound is one that I'll always look back at as being like, I'm really, really proud from, title card of credits on how everybody performed on it.
And you're still doing it now. I mean, like if you're looking at projects, trying to find projects.
Yes, so there's a chance.
Music and movie.
Yes, sir. And so I started playing guitar for Elizabeth Nichols.
Yep.
So she just had her first #1 back in July.
Which give her flowers. I mean, she's
the man. She's Don Schlitz, who wrote The Gambler for Kenny Rogers, came up to her and he's like, "You're the greatest songwriter of your generation." She's the man. She can write and she can perform too. I mean, she can throw down. I've been very fortunate to come on with her at kind of the front end of her career. And we're going to, I was going somewhere with that. No, I just blanked. We got Stagecoach in April. So I'm getting to do stuff. Because
you're the lead guitar.
Yeah. So it's most of the shows are acoustic. So it's me and her for the most part the whole time. So I run BGVs. She's the man. And really how it's looking right now is we'll do season 3 of Blue Ridge, the TV show, the Amazon one, next year back into 2026. And then I'll be with Elizabeth on the weekends playing festivals. So I'll probably, work Monday to Thursday, then hop on the plane and go fly Friday.
Damn. How old are you?
27.
Wow. Good for you.
Case knives. I've got a case knife story I've never told anybody, not on a podcast. So my granddad, God rest his soul, always carried case knives. Old school, the little yellow, they're about a cream colored handle on them, filed down. There was barely any blade left. I always carried case knives. One day I was like, "Pop, why do you only carry case?" I mean, like you see them in the display cases, like you can collect them. Why do you carry case knives? I said, "Boy, I was at a bar fight about 1960, whatever." And he said, I'm sitting there talking to a dude and he got mad at me and pulled out a case knife. And he said, he went and swatted at me over the table while we were both sitting. And he said, I went like that and dodged. I ducked it. He said, there was some poor guy standing behind me and it took about 30 stitches across both his butt cheeks. Whenever that dude went to cut him, he said, from then on, Case stood for cut ass so easy. And he said his whole life he carried a whole handful of cut ass so easy knives. So,
dude, that is, I mean, and what an iconic brand that is. I mean, it all starts, everybody who comes on here, it's grandpa. I mean,
always had a case knife.
Yeah. It's one of the best.
I kept his on me for years.
What, so now going back to you being able to do both, you're in Nashville.
Yes, sir.
The opportunities now when it comes to mainly film, not having to be in Hollywood or be in New York, coast to coast. Like, how cool is that, right? I mean, it's like that middle America type of content, type of lifestyle. Why we built this brand that we built is because of that. Like, we believe you don't have, like, why do I have to go to Hollywood just to film? Like, you can do it in Nashville or you can do it in Texas, right? I mean, Texas is getting big.
Well, my thing was, as an actor, I was put at a disadvantage because I grew up in Alabama. So I always had to put stuff on tape. I always had to, me and Mom would sit and record it in my bedroom at the house. Up until really COVID hit, everything got far more mainstream to tape your auditions and send it wherever. And then at that point, Atlanta was picking up and was the largest film market in the world. It probably still is to some extent. When we did Greyhound, that was when Louisiana was picking back up all their like film incentive situations. So we were the first film under that in 2018 is when we put that one down. But it has opened a lot of doors to be wherever, which is a blessing. I mean, we're doing the TV show now in Charlotte. We did all the Wimpy Kids in Vancouver. Greyhound takes place in February of 1942 on the Atlantic Ocean, but we filmed it in 94-degree studio in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But we had all the gear for February on the North Atlantic. So that was a bear because, we were just sweating to death the whole time. But it really has opened up to where you can really do anything anywhere. And that's the beauty of, or maybe not the beauty, but the schedule that I'm at now is when I'm stuck on set for months at a time, I can record my music and drop it then. And those gaps kind of keep the ball rolling. And then I'll tour it whenever I come off.
Now, and this could be me just being naive, on the country music side, it seems like over the last 18, 24 months, you've really put more time in. Is that inaccurate?
No, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. With film, there's not another job I can have where I can get kitted out for World War II and get yelled at by Tom Hanks and get nominated for an Oscar and put myself through school so my folks don't have to. Not another job I can have where I can do it. But I'm playing somebody else. When I'm on stage, I get to be me.
Yeah.
And it makes songwriting a little difficult for me, specifically writing for me, because if I'm telling somebody else's story, I do that on camera. Like, I don't wholeheartedly believe that Tim McGraw lived through Red Ragtop, but I respect his storytelling. So it doesn't faze me when he's on 1883 or he's, The Blind Side. But if I want to hear Kevin Costner in concert, I kind of want to hear Kevin Costner. I can watch Dances with Wolves anytime I want to, And so that's
spot on.
That's a weird line that I'm learning to walk. I paid attention to a lot of how Hank Jr. started off his career, going, hey, I know the only reason y'all are giving me the time of day right now is because of who my dad was. But, here I am, and this is what I'm doing. And, thankfully, I'm not in anybody's shadow but my own. Talk about the all-knowing power of the good Lord.
What was the kid's name in Talladega Nights?
Houston.
You were Houston.
No, sorry. Houston played my brother. Sorry, I played Texas Ranger Bobby.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, you're kind of in Texas Ranger's shadow, but we don't have to talk about that.
Yes, sir. That's fine.
But on that is, I love that you just use the word storytelling, because I've said it. I bet we've had 7 shows already this week, and I keep on saying storytelling because that's what country music is.
Yes, sir.
And that makes a lot of sense on what you're saying is like, dude, when I'm off stage, I'm fucking somebody else. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I'm living to write songs. Like, I'm truly a different person each week if you're killing it when it comes to projects. So on the stage is where you get the opportunity.
Get to be me.
So it'll be interesting, like on that storytelling through your music, kind of the ups and downs that you have to go through on that, because you're going to have ups and downs. It's just what life is. But
yes, sir.
That's a great point that you put that.
Well, the cool thing with acting is I figured out early on what stories I can tell well and which ones I can't, regardless of whether I live through it or not. And so even when it comes down to the covers that I do, it just kind of helps dial that world in. Even though, again, I've done it since I was 5. There's still Bee Gees songs that make it into the set because that was my first band that I had. Or Dad'll hop up if we're on Broadway, or if we'll play a show every year, 30, 40,000 people up in Wisconsin, and we'll do Can't Even Walk, or I Can Only Imagine, first song I ever recorded with Dad when I was like 6. And then we'll do Freebird. It's just kind of how it all shakes.
The guy in the back, Freebird.
Absolutely.
Dude, it's the best. What's like your go-to cover song right now?
Keep Your Hands to Yourself, Georgia Satellites. That's the one. If everything's going wrong, that'll pull us out.
Yeah, no kidding.
Covers a multitude of sins.
What is your take right now on, and you'll get it more than most, like you got social media now, which could be a bad thing, but it's also one of the best tools you can have, especially in the music industry. Like right now, what are your thoughts on like strategy when it comes to the Instagrams and the TikToks?
Well, I hated it, I'm sure, like everybody else for a while, until I just realized that, I kind of get to do my own PR and don't have to worry about somebody else screwing it up.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it's still limited to what I can pull off. So, I can.
But you get to hold the narrative.
But I get to hold the narrative. Talk about like the all-knowing power of the good Lord. When I was 2, I wanted to ride bulls and be George Strait. That was my 2 aspirations. So I started mutton busting and riding sheep and, watching the Pure Country and listening to the Pure Country soundtrack for years on end.
Hey, y'all, it's Pat, and I'm excited to welcome Ducks Unlimited to the Like a Farmer podcast. Your hunt starts with healthy wetlands and associated habitats. From the Alaskan wilderness to the Atlantic flyway, across America's Great Plains and down the Mississippi Delta, Ducks Unlimited has been protecting and restoring habitats for nearly 90 years. But their work is far from over. They need our help to reach the next 1 million acre milestone and ensure waterfowl for generations to come. DU volunteers and supporters have led the charge to fill the skies with waterfowl today, tomorrow, and forever. Why don't you come join the team that's making a real difference? Ducks Unlimited is powered by people like you. With your help, they can continue to raise funds that drive wetlands conservation across the whole continent. Whether you are out selling tickets, securing donations, or finding that next sponsor, they have a role for everyone. If you want to join today, visit www.ducks.org/volunteer. Ducks Unlimited, conservation for a continent.
And the amount of doors, a movie I did when I was 7, that's open has continually blown me away. John Daly's like my uncle. He calls me Anarchy. Kid Rock, Uncle Bob calls me, sorry, I'm backwards. Kid Rock calls me Baby Anarchy. John calls me Baby Jesus. And it's not about the names or their accolades, but it's the fact that it still holds weight 20 years later. Like I couldn't keep doing rodeo because I couldn't get hurt. I couldn't play ball because it made no sense for me to put on a pair of shoulder pads in April in spring training, break my collarbone, and then not be able to do Wimpy Kid in August. So my dad never got to see me, put on a jersey, not with my name on it. But I get to go to Talladega and see Shake and Bake shirt or a freaking Wonder Bread onesie, or I was out for Halloween. I went to 2 places and counted 13 Cal Naughton Jr. outfits.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, I wasn't just like blowing smoke. Yeah, I think it's one of the most iconic movies of all time.
Well, thank you.
I mean,
my undergrad's in film, and so I had to go back and watch movies from the 20s and 30s and whatever. And so the good Lord tarries, some poor kid's going to be stuck doing turn of the century American comedy, and I will be so blessed to be in the lineup if you just stumble across Will of Anchorman, Elf, Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, in that 4 years in a row. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, I mean he was in his bag.
He was on a roll, and that's the thing. Like there were times in my film career where I wouldn't work for 3 or 4 years at a time, and so I had to get okay with the idea of like, all right, God, I know you put me here to do this, but even though I'm auditioning my butt off, like, is this really what I'm doubting it. But I had to get to a point where I've been able to hit a level with Talladega Nights and Wimpy Kid and Greyhound getting the Oscar nod that most people never get. If they do, they get it once, and they're Morgan Freeman's age doing Driving Miss Daisy, and everybody who supported this starving artist is dead, and they ain't around to see them do it.
Like the whole, what was Leonardo? He never really got one until
he was The Revenant. So that'd be 2015 or 16, something like that.
He was in some like monster.
Yeah, had to eat a liver. But
did you ever have a chance to be in a movie that you wanted to be in and you thought you were going to get it but never did?
Blindside. I was too tall to play SJ, the little kid in Blindside.
You would have been a good SJ.
Yeah. That was the.
You know who SJ is in real life?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I never met him. That was the one that because there's roles that have come down the line that I've really wanted here and there that, either didn't get made or something happened with it. But that was the one where I was, to my knowledge, was pretty close. And of all things, like I was too tall. Like I've never been too tall for anything in my life. So
damn, it's crazy to think like, because you have to be a visionary to be in your type of business on that side. And the fact that you knew, like, hey, that's the one I wanted. Because now when you look at SJ and you look at who you were at that time, like, actually, fuck. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
a funny one.
Would have been a good SJ.
I've never said this on a podcast. I don't know if I've ever told this story. I got asked to audition for one of the kids in Walk Hard. And of course, Mom was like, absolutely not. Yeah. But I watched it for the first time maybe 4 or 5 months ago. And I don't think there was any way we could have like comprehended like the style of comedy that it was. I just remember Mom going, yeah, you're supposed to cut your brother in half. And I was like, okay, I think I'm all right. but there are stuff, that will come down the line every now and then that you get to do or you don't. And, it changes somebody's life somewhere along the way. With film, it's a little more difficult because I might get a call saying, hey, we want you to do this film and we're going to do it in 2028. It's like, okay, great. But that's provided that like funding doesn't get pulled for it between now and then. Or there's a million different things that could happen. But with music, I've got the better part of my 2026 mapped out for the most part, up through like August maybe. So there's a more kind of tangible field I can work and not have to be so, I don't have to sit and kind of wait for the hammer to fall with the film stuff.
What keeps you hungry and going the music side right now? Because, to your point, it's hard to do what you've already done in film. Mm-hmm. And that's just, you could stop today and like, okay, you had a good little run. On the music side, you're still trying to gain that traction. Has there been anything in the last 2 or 3 years that you're like, yeah, I made the right decision?
The last song I put out got dropped on WSM Radio, Grand Ole Opry, Valentine's Day this year. I did it, and I remember that you have that set up in the ACOF house, which is literally next to the Opry on that pavilion, where my granddad would bring me. Different granddad from Cut Ass So Easy. My mom, this is my mom's dad, would bring me when I was 2. My first memory on the planet is getting laughed at by a band with a fiddle player because I was dancing, and they thought it was cute. I thought they were laughing at me. That's the only reason I remembered it. It's the first time I'd been embarrassed in front of a big group of people. It was Old Crow Medicine Show playing Wagon Wheel 4 years before they cut it at the door of the Opry for the 75th anniversary. That was my first memory on the planet. And then you look 25 years later, here I am staring at that spot from the ACOF house, dropping my last single. And there's a whole host of massive full circle moments in my life that have happened over the past year that it got to a point where I can't deny that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. At least it's going to be part of my life. It always has been. My band was playing a show at Johnny Cash's house. A dude come up out of the audience. Said, hey man, I did 4 records for the Bee Gees. Nobody knew that I had a Bee Gees band when I was 7. I want to do your record. Okay. 2 weeks later, I was on a retreat in Wyoming with Mercy Me, who cut, I Can Only Imagine, first song I ever recorded, first song I ever learned to sing. Hey man, we bought Motley Crue's house, dropped a studio in it. It ain't zoned for commercial. We can't charge you nothing. Come cut your record. Cut my record in the Imagine house, built on the proceeds of the first song I ever learned to sing. Ever recorded. You talk about them. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah. And Scott Glaisel, who worked with the Bee Gees, he passed away about a month before we could get into the studio. So I was like, okay, I can't run my band and hit the big red button. Come to find out, Houston, who played my brother, he had passed away a year or 2 before. His sister, who's my age, was head of quality control for Universal.
Oh, the kid that was your brother in Talladega Nights passed away.
March of 2021.
Damn.
I believe. But his sister works for Universal, does all their quality control mixes. I got you. Comes over and just totally restarted really my relationship with their family, post Houston passing away. Because after Talladega Nights, I mean, it kind of predated cell phones. Like there weren't kids running around with them. He was from Pell City, I was from Clanton. So that, 45 minutes was a pilgrimage to a 7-8-year-old kid. So we never really kept up until about 2 weeks before he passed away. He posted like, name a more iconic duo or something like that. And it was me and him at the premiere. I just slid up on him. Hey man, how you doing? And so, I mean, at least we had some kind of.
And then how did he pass?
He had just gotten out of the Army. And so there's the Houston Projects Foundation, his mom sent him. And it's doing a whole lot of good, which is a blessing because, I mean, that's what he would want. I was at a Wounded Warrior thing with Gary Sinise a couple weeks ago. And one of the vets was there and we were talking and he said, hey man, can I take a picture with you? I took a picture with him and he goes, I don't know what to do with my hands, and proceeds to hold up 2 claws because he lost both his hands to an RPG.
Oh my
and he goes,
God.
oh yeah, man, I pull that gem out weekly. He's been dying to say that, you know? And so it's wild, the legacy that it's had. The hard part about losing Houston was that one of the issues with it was that that's the only other person that would remember something like that from a child's perspective. I remember when we went to the premiere, it was at the Chinese Theater, like John Wayne's footprints or, handprints are in the concrete. And God love Mama and Daddy. They didn't know what was going on. They had a Hummer limo try to pick us up in the front yard and their driveway was too short to turn around in. So the poor fellow had to back down the hill. They're trying to explain to me, like, this is like going to church. Better not, like lock in. And so I remember getting out of the limo, it's man's Chinese theater, all these things are here and people are taking pictures and I'm trying to take it in and I turned and looked across the street and there was Hooters. And I remember in my 8-year-old mind at this point going, hold on. Why is there a Hooters across the street? I thought this was supposed to be like going to church. So you remember weird, bits and pieces. Thankfully, I remember the dinner table scene the most because it took us a week to shoot it. Because like how we're doing this is cross coverage. So there's, that camera's watching you and this one's watching me and we can knock out our conversation and however long it takes to just have the conversation once. Talladega Nights was a 4 or 5 camera shoot and just everybody took a day. And so everybody just took a day and that's how the majority of that shoot went. The cool thing will be is, when I'm old and rusty, I'll be able to say that, the first 10 films I did, 8 probably were physically on film before there was any alternative to film.
That's true.
So
that's a great point. Yeah. Do you have any on both sides, the music and the TV side, like mentors? Like who are you leaning towards on? Obviously now with country music, but on the movie side.
On the film side, Jonathan Sheck, who's the lead from on Blue Ridge on the show that I'm on. His big one was he was the lead in That Thing You Do. Has been really, really good to me. I was only supposed to do 2 episodes and they brought me on as a regular for season 2 and season 3. He's one that has really gone to bat for me as an actor. Another one is actually from the same shoot, A. Martinez from Longmire. Mm-hmm. John Wayne taught him how to throw a punch in the Cowboys. So to be able to just sit with that man and, everything from John Wayne to Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like this is what he has done for, pushing, I think he's been an actor for 50, 60 years. And so when we were filming the finale for season 3, first time in my life where I was like, I wonder how many years of acting experience are among these 10 or 12 veterans. It's 360 years. Pulled it all up. Those are 2 guys that I really look up to and lean on. Tom Proctor from that same shoot. All those guys are ones that I really kind of watch. And I've never took a class before, but I've been blessed to be able to sit under somebody like Will Ferrell or Tom Hanks or Elizabeth Shue, or Gary Marshall. Gary created Mork and Mindy and Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley and Pretty Woman. He discovered Robin Williams and Julia Roberts. And I got to do the last movie he did before he passed away. This movie called Mother's Day with Jennifer Aniston and Jason Sudeikis. So to get to see, Sudeikis pre Ted Lasso, is one of the smartest people I've ever met. And just to see him work and learn. For me, since I was just kind of thrown into it, I never had a whole lot of confidence as like an actor because it didn't feel like something I really worked my ass off to get to a point. It was just like, whoop, here you are. And then it's Talladega Nights.
Because after Talladega Nights, I'm assuming that was the first.
That was the first one.
Because of an accident. And then how old were you? You were
7.
So it's not like, okay, that was great. Now I'm going to go and look for new jobs. I mean, you're trying to figure out
we found
your underwear
a video that Mama had recorded of the news when we had done. They let us do a premiere of it like 2 days before it actually came out in Birmingham, and like the Fox 6 News was there, and they were like, "Well, you think you'll do any more of it?" And I'm sitting there like, "Maybe, good Lord will it? I don't know." I'm a 7-year-old kid.
What's for dinner?
Because I had no idea. But a lot of the guys from Blue Ridge, have really kind of helped me find, my confidence in, the acting side of things. Really, honestly, Instagram was the big one because I was cutting together a Talladega Nights reel, and it's like watching game film. Like, oh man, if I had come in a quarter second later and had my head turned another inch and a half, you would have seen what all else I had going on. And that's the first time I was looking at Talladega Nights, so like what I did right. Like arguably one of you turds is about to get smacked in the mouth is one of the best timed pieces of work I've ever done in my life. And for whatever reason, it clicked and it was like, oh, okay. Like I actually can do this relatively well. It's totally the opposite with music because I've done it since I was 5. So I have put in the time, I have put in the work, and there's not any kind of like, am I really cut out for this? How's this going to go? Like I get up there and totally black out. So I won't remember half of it, but that's, part of what I've done. Skinny is my best friend, and he's arguably, without a doubt, the most talented young man in Nashville, hands down.
And there's been a lot of people sitting in that chair that have said that.
Yeah, and he's been so good to me. He's one of the first people I met when I moved. Which was April of last year.
Okay, yeah. Now, dude, Skinny will take his shirt off of his back for anybody.
He's the reason why I'm here. I would know maybe 20 people in Nashville. The other 400 is all because Skinny was gracious enough to go, hey, these are the relationships I've cultivated over the past 5 years. And I believe in you enough as a human, as a person, that you're not going to, disparage that. Fly, be free.
Yeah.
And, he hops in my band. I back him up as best I can, but he hops in with me and has always supported me. And so it's, it might be odd to say somebody who's, a year or two younger has been a mentor, but he certainly has, we call it, it's like the greatest 3-man God ever created is me, Skinny, and my buddy Dylan Weldon, that runs the Drifting Cowboy podcast. He does all the country music historian stuff on Instagram. And
what's his name?
Dylan Weldon.
Yeah.
One of my best friends.
Yeah. I reached out to him the other day. I like his stuff.
He's the man. He's precious.
He's really good at, knowledgeable.
Yeah. When we go out, me, him, and Skinny, if they don't know him, Skinny knows them, or they know Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. And I can
see that. It's like, okay, you got a pretty girl sitting across from you. She's either going to know Skinny, know Dylan. Dylan's content, or she's going to know fucking Talladega.
And that's the thing. Not so much from that side of it, but when we get into a room, Skinny's going to know that, well, that's not just Kid Rock. That's not just Uncle Bob. That's Corey. Corey's his general manager. He knows. He's worked it. He knows all the teams behind the people.
Yeah.
They might not know me or Skinny, but they'll know that Waylon Jennings hat that Dylan's got on. And it validates me and Skinny being there. Right. And then, it doesn't make me so much look like an actor that just up and decided to, do this because I have the vote of confidence of Skinny and Dylan. And so that's been a real blessing. Those two, to learn from them and learn with them, because it's ever changing. And to just get to, funny enough, I'd say one of my mentors is John Daly. To sit
Love Uncle John,
under
man.
him and see how he operates at the level that he does, as inebriated as he is.
Yeah, I mean, I was with him 2 weeks ago, and like but that being said, and I tell this to everybody, when you think about golf, and then kind of like what you're doing, like you want to have other stuff outside of what you did.
Yeah.
And golf isn't a game where everybody knows anything. Like, to stay relevant outside of golf, but even in golf, just doesn't happen. It's happened once because of Tiger. You could make an argument with Jack, but I don't think you can. Like, what I mean by that is, like, if you don't know golf, you still know Tiger.
Yeah.
I don't know that about Jack, but I do know that about John. Like, if you don't know golf, you know John Daly, just like you know Tiger. So
He's Ricky Bobby.
him staying relevant is unbelievable. And I mean, that's his brand.
I would say the other big one is certainly Jim Prisco, who manages me, manages Tyler Farr. My thing with social media was that my undergrad's film, I've been on camera my whole life, so I can pull that off. But he was the first one to really come up and be like, hey man, I believe in what you're doing. I've seen how you carry yourself via Skinny and, around Tyler and somebody like Moon, Chris Troll, who's a hell of a mentor to me. But Jim believing in me enough to say, I'm going to stick my neck out for you. I want to bring you on, has been the vote of confidence that I needed. Because I was coming into this having no team, no booking agent. I write the songs. I had the same band, the guys I went to college with in Lee University in Cleveland, Tennessee. And I'll get the van, I'll drive the van, I'll get the hotel room, I'll put the set together, we'll play the show. I'll drive us all back for years. And so to kind of have somebody to finally recognize that, what you're doing isn't totally horrible is a blessing. And so Jim's been the biggest blessing of my year this year for sure. And somebody that, he's done it longer than I've done film. So he's probably pushing 30 years and doing all this.
Yeah. Still looks pretty young.
Still looks pretty young.
Young guy.
Yeah.
Young looking guy.
Yeah.
Maybe not actually young. Young looking. Love you, Jim. Hey, we play a game on this show.
Let's do it.
Give them the boot, presented by TECOVAS, okay? You got a brand new pair of TECOVAS.
Thank you.
If you play the game.
Okay.
So there's 4 questions in this box, all right?
God.
You don't have to answer all of them. You can give one of them the boot. If you give one of them the boot, that means you have to answer the other ones. Nobody gives them the boot.
Okay.
Who would do that, right?
Who would do that? Who would do such a thing?
They're fine questions. So,
okay.
Question number 1. You're just going to pop it out.
All right.
You're going to read it out.
Excuse
and you're going to
me while I whip this out.
Yeah. Give them the boot, presented by TECOVAS.
What is a decision you have made in life for business? For business.
It don't have to be for business.
No, it's better that way.
I know.
That you wish you could take back.
Oh, actually, it don't have to be business. It can be personal or
A
business.
decision that you wish you could take back. I've been very blessed to have been dealt a really good hand. The good Lord's always taken care of me. Not that I haven't had my own, share of screw ups. I've got so my master's is in clinical mental health counseling. So I've got the psychological thing kicking now. It's like, well, if you made that mistake, it's made you into who you are now. So what do you actually regret?
Yeah. Great point.
I wish I was raised by, I have a great relationship with my parents. But while they were at work, I was raised by my granddad and his 4 older sisters, Bertha, Inez, Ethel, and Luella. These are all like 70, 80-year-old women when I was, 2, 3, 4 years old.
They're great names.
Oh, grade A. Spent more time with them isn't the right thing because I was raised underneath them. I wish I had a better wherewithal to ask them how to handle this.
Yeah.
I think the blessing in that is that I started working with adults as a child. And so I had just been up under old people my whole life. So it really didn't make much of a difference. But that's one. I wish I had gleaned a little more just sheer wisdom off of the saints that, that raised me. That's one. I know that's not like a big dramatic something. But I mean, there are people that cross my mind 4 or 5 times a day. So that's one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's one. Do another one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do another one.
You got to answer all of them.
Do another one. Okay.
Or you don't get the boots. I mean, as simple as that.
I don't get the boots. Okay. Has there ever been a moment where you almost quit entertainment as a whole? Day by day, there are times where it's like, you know what? I'm tired of this. But again, with having so many of those full circle moments, I cannot in good conscience say that this is not what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And you get double dip too. Exactly. So it's like, what would you be doing if you weren't doing entertainment?
Working barrel horses and laying hardwood flooring. And I'd be happy as a lark. My grandparents owned a screen printing company for like 30 years doing t-shirts. And so I'd be in
Alabama
yeah. With a windy unit in a tin building from the 80s. The window unit from the 80s, next to a 330 degree dryer and a 220 degree dryer. And whenever I'd lay flooring with Daddy, that meant that I could have my head in the AC unit, in the AC vents in the floor doing flooring. So I was like, all right, I got to pick. This is what I'm going to do because it's better than standing up here making t-shirts for $7.25, baby. My first check was $88 to put in that 93 Silverado.
Dude, that ain't $7.25 an hour?
$7.25. That's what that was I think minimum wage in
maybe.
And oh gosh, 13 maybe.
Okay, yeah, because Mom paid me when we would work in the citrus groves back home, maybe $5 an hour. I talked him into paying me $2.
I think I was about 6 to catch the t-shirts coming out the dryer. I was like, that's 5 hours, $2. I mean that's a used PS2 game.
How much did you get paid for Talladega Nights? Are you allowed to tell me?
God's honest truth, I don't know. The blessing is my mom's an accountant. She just sold the firm that she started co-oping in high school as a sophomore, which is a blessing.
Good for her.
So mom's always handled that for me. I don't know what I made on Talladega Nights. I do remember.
Did you get to buy anything? Like, hey.
My folks bought me a dune buggy for Christmas that year with my own damn per diem that I didn't know it was mine.
Dang.
I do remember one time Mama asking me if it was all right if I made the house payment one time. I was about I was about 8 or 9 maybe. But those are the only times I know my folks have ever used any of my money for anything.
That's
after when we were doing the Wimpy Kids, I would get like one thing. I got a PS3, which was the first time. I grew up playing my uncle's Super Nintendo. So that was the first time I was like, holy crap, I'm not 4 consoles behind everybody.
Catching up.
I got an Epiphone Les Paul that I still have. I got that after doing the second Wimpy Kid. And I don't know if I got anything off the third one. But I remember 2 years after we did Talladega Nights. So we filmed in 2005. This was 2007. I remember I was sitting in my grandparents' house. I remember her coming in crying. It was like, we got to call the preacher. We got to call the preacher. And I thought somebody had died. And I was like, what is wrong? And I had gotten my first residual check from Talladega Nights because it had just hit cable. Because it comes out 2006, and it's another year, before it actually makes it on like primetime television. And I remember them losing their mind. And I didn't, I had no way of comprehending what, money. I knew what money meant, but I didn't know 10 from another. And it wasn't until maybe a year or two ago that I asked, I was like, what was it? Because I remember you coming in crying. She was like, baby, you had a check for $20,000 as an 8-year-old in 2007. And so I was blessed to, by the time Wimpy Kid was done, I had already I could put myself through school.
Yeah.
Like it took care of, even though I drove my granddad's truck, he gave it to me, so I didn't have to buy it from him. But I was able to put myself through 2 degrees, and my folks, they bought my books. They didn't have to. Dad started framing houses when he was 8 and ended up working his way up to be the building official of the city of Montgomery, one of 50 positions in the United States over a capital city. And he just retired. And so he still does, remodels and different things. But I didn't come from a family of just like ritzy, flamboyant entertainers. My grandparents were peach farmers. They did that, and they owned a gas station and a trailer park and an arcade one time. And
so it's a small town feel of like
it's a small town.
It's that one family that owns all of it.
Yeah, well, they just did it. They never owned them all at the same time.
Yeah,
they do one and then they go do another.
If that worked, then they do that. Yeah,
and I grew up pretty hardcore Pentecostal, so my folks, coming up, you're going to hell if you went to the movies, much less got in there and watched one.
Much less being in one.
Yeah, much less being in one, exactly. So it's funny how that all kind of shook out. My granddad, when he was 3, his mama got melanoma from picking cotton and died in her 30s, like 1948 maybe. And he got rheumatic fever when he was 7. It paralyzed him. So strep throat turned into rheumatic fever because penicillin wasn't a thing in Verbena, Alabama in the early 50s. Mm. His dad became a belligerent alcoholic. My granddad was about to die as like a 7, 8-year-old kid at this point. So, well, there's a tent revival on the other side of the county. We'll take you if you want to go. And the whole family stands outside this church service arguing about who's going to take this kid in there to be prayed for. Hell, I'm doing it. You do it. I ain't doing it. You take him in there. And my plastered great-granddad stumbles down the aisle with his crippled child. And the preacher comes up. What's wrong with him? Well, he ain't walked in 8 months. Okay. In the name of the Father, and Son, and the Holy Ghost, put him down and let him go. And my granddad takes off running. No rehab, no atrophy, hadn't touched the ground in 8 months. Whole family converts, builds the church I was raised in. And so like boom, boom, boom. And so then naturally, well, of course, going to the movies is of the devil, and God forbid you wear makeup and anybody sees your ankles. And for, that, 50, 60 years later to turn into, here I sit having these conversations. The hardest part on the film side, growing up in church was you'd catch more flack from church folks than you would really anybody else. Yep. I was 14 or 15 opening for Bill Gaither, like the Gaither vocal band. You know what I'm talking about? And I was backstage in the green room talking to somebody, and he come up to me. I didn't know it was him. He put his arms on my shoulders. He's standing behind me, and he goes, "I pictured Jesus as he did I'm in the front row in a tuxedo t-shirt, singing lead vocals, and I'm hammered drunk, for Leonard Skinner or whatever." And I'm thinking, this is Bill Gaither. If all them little blue hairs out there knew that Talladega Nights was your favorite movie, either you're getting crucified, or my ass just got elevated, So one of the two's happening. Can't remember where I was going. Oh, well, it's always interesting, who ends up liking it. But again, it's a ministry. It's just unconventional. And so trying to, we'll weigh that out with the roles that I play, even though they're just roles, like that ain't actually me. It's different with the music because I'm far more naked when I'm doing that, because like, again, how I explained it earlier, this is kind of what I've walked through this month, and I'm not necessarily proud of it, but if nothing else, it's a cautionary tale. The last song that the Opry dropped is a song called Go Cry Somewhere Else. Yep. For when somebody cheats on you and cries about it, go cry somewhere else. I didn't like writing that, but that's what happened. That's what happened. Yeah. And so you have those moments, no different than I get to sing the song about my granddad getting healed and my dad being abused as a child and turning out good in front of 30, 40,000 people. And I get to watch my dad cry behind them Ray-Bans, the man who never saw me score a touchdown or hit a home run. And then I get to bring him up and we'll do I Can Only Imagine, and then go into Freebird. And we'll be done, and there'll be twice the line of grown, burly men to come meet my dad and go, how the hell do you still have your marriage and your kid turn out all right, than there has ever been Talladega Nights or Wimpy Kid fans. And that's a big reason why I'm doing it. That was certainly, like, I knew that this is what I was supposed to be doing, but that confirms it as it goes along.
Yeah.
We got questions down here.
Yeah, I mean, that was great,
I
though,
talk
dude.
a lot. Okay. What were some of your best memories behind the scenes of Talladega Nights? Easy. When we come running around the back of the house screaming anarchy, the guy who played the neighbor was in the house as I soaked him with that water hose. He was sitting in the window and I was just freaking beaming him with it. I loved it because I got to do mess that I could never get to do.
Yeah, get away with it.
And get in the real world.
Like, do you still talk to any of them?
No, because again, it was before any of us had phones.
Like, not even Will or anything like that?
I met John C. Reilly for the first time at Grimey's in Nashville like 2 months ago. Hadn't seen him in 20 years.
How'd that go?
It was great. It's that verse where it's like the good Lord's going to go before you. The night before, he was doing a thing for the Americana Awards, and the woman, Erin Cooper, shameless plug, who has her show on the Opry Radio, was interviewing him and was like, hey, you know the kid from Talladega Nights does music down. He's like, oh man, I didn't know whatever happened to him. And I saw him the next morning. I'm standing waiting for him to walk in, and Aaron's texting me going, hey, I met John C. Reilly last night. So that was wild. When they run the car through the house, you know, like going,
Yeah.
They bought that house and run a car through it. Like, that's just cause they could. I mean,
Oh, wow.
they bought a house and run a car through it. That's exactly how we did. And we were in this like cotton mill village. And so like everybody would just be sitting on the porch anyway, you know, just watching us out there do it. When we did the scene where Ricky and Cal are like, they're all splitting up, you know, and so like they're in there arguing in the house. Well, me and Houston get there, and I got to go back in the house like a year ago for the first time and see it. That was a whole crazy other deal. We walk in, and they handed us two, I called them Walmart bats. They were like old little aluminum DeMarini knockoffs. Like, okay, when we call action, that nightstand over there, pulverize it, and then run around behind the couch, grab that vase and throw it at the wall, and it'll shatter. And then we want y'all to come around here and start fighting. Simple enough? We're like, yeah, sure. Destroy the house. Sweet. The nightstand was marble. Houston runs up, cleans off the phone, cleans off the vase, cleans off like the family picture. I went to town on that friggin' marble nightstand, beat it all to pieces, whole thing shattered. Run around, we grab the base. It's they call it candy glass, so when it shatters, it doesn't, you know, cut you all to pieces. Grab it, sling it. It shatters. We come around. Houston puts me in a full Nelson, then picks me up, starts spinning me over his head, and they call cut. And then they call reset. And then here comes another marble table and another candy glass vase and another family picture and rotary phone, and we do it all over again. And so, I mean, you were getting to do stuff like that, you know, I wish, you know, when you talk about like, what could you take back? It really didn't think I could take back, but I had no idea who any of those people were. Like Saturday Night Live was past my bedtime.
Yeah.
I remember my folks trying to like get me to watch Anchorman, but then they were like, whoa, never mind.
Yeah.
Elf had come out. I kind of knew it, but I wasn't able to comprehend like, this is Jane Lynch. This is Michael Clark Duncan. I knew him from Scorpion King, but of course I'd never seen The Green Mile. You know, Ted Manson, who played Chip, you know, everybody knew him from Sweet Home Alabama. He was the grandpa that would like come out in the like Civil War reenactment gear.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of the people, you know, I discovered their, you know, discography. You know, I was 14 or 15, you know, before I realized like what everybody had done. The cool thing was though, I ran into a guy. Very rarely do you run into folks. Have I ever run into folks from Talladega Nights? Because if they were a department head, they're dead or retired by now, you know, or if they were a PA, they're about to be retired. I ran into a guy. He said, hey man, I was one of the cops that chased Will, one of the stunt drivers, when he's like got the cocaine under it, when he's got the Lucky Charms under the car. was like, well, that's cool. You know, what all did you do after that? And he's like, well, right before it, I was the fiddle player on the deck of the Titanic for Titanic. He had been Stallone's double for like 15 years. After Talladega Nights, goes on to play the freaking hammerhead shark from Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure I had your action figure at the house.
Yeah, no kidding.
So it was wild to see, you know, like, because you don't always keep up with the stunties, you know, what they end up doing. Will's stunt double was Andy Gill, who was Bo Duke's stunt double in Duke's Hazard, and was a stunt double for the Liquid Metal Man in Terminator 2. So like Dad's like, I know who the hell you are, sir. So I remember sitting in the hair and makeup trailer, and he was sitting next to me, and Dad being like, what was it like to, you know, slam Arnold through the wall, because they had that scene where they're like, wa-dung, going through all those walls. It's getting to the point now where I'm getting to work with people on the music side that my folks think are cool.
Yep.
You know, like getting to introduce them to Uncle Bob for the first time, or Riley Green come up to me a couple weeks ago, and I'd met him a couple times, but I didn't know if he really knew who I was. I mean, I was fine. It's freaking Riley Green, dude. Yeah. And he come up, he said, hey man, my sister's the biggest Talladega Nights fan in the world. Will you take a picture with her? I was like, sure, man. And we all just sat and talked to my folks for forever. But it's funny that like that's starting to happen now.
Yeah.
You know, my granddad's favorite movie was Pretty Woman. So getting, you know, to
iconic movie, to
hang with Gary Marshall again on his last movie he did before he died. He's the man who created that. He did Princess Diaries after that. I've been really blessed, even though part of it was really early on, to get to work with a lot of just legitimate legends in the acting field. And then, you know, as music happens, it's in the same way. Of course, I'm older, but I'm able to appreciate it now. Certainly far more than I would have as a kid doing film. Danny Glover, Dietz from Lonesome Dove. I got to do a space movie with him, and I was like 13. I had never seen Lethal Weapon, but I had seen Predator 2. You know, and he thought that was the funniest thing in the world. He's like, why is there this kid trying to quote Dietz? You know, I'm like, they got me, you know, it's like got the spear in him. Anyway, Here we go. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of country musicians and actors?
Yeah, so do two separate ones.
Two separate ones.
Yep.
Mount Rushmore of actors. Gosh, I've never been asked this question. Is it because they're good or because I like them?
No, it's a very opinionated question.
Opinionated question. Okay.
So it's your Mount Rushmore.
Lord, give me wisdom.
Anything you say, everybody's going to talk shit about anyway, so you might as well just say it's yours.
That's fine. Have fun with this one. Robert Duvall. Robert Duvall for sure. Tom Hanks, because I've seen that man do it. Somebody give him a direction and he'd go, watch this. The most humble individual I've ever worked with. And he'd go, watch this. And you would, and it would be fantastic. And that's why he's him. How many are on Mount Rushmore? 4?
Yep.
I got 2 more. The older I get, it changes. People that I used to, you know, love, I might not love as much, or you find people that James Gandolfini. I'm going to have to say Michael Larnaka. That man changed my life, and you cannot argue one bit with a Green Mile.
No, you can't.
I friggin' dare you. Can't do it. My favorite writer, who's also an actor, Mel Brooks.
Another good one.
Can't beat it with a stick. Grew up, my favorite comedy was Blazing Saddles and The Naked Gun. Any Naked Gun movie. Music. Is it solely country music?
No, you know what? Just all genres.
Music. George Strait, Barry Gibb, lead singer of the Bee Gees.
Somebody's going to be left out.
Somebody's going to be left out. The 2 more for me. The Eagles.
You have to just choose one of them. You can't say band.
An Eagle?
Yeah.
One Eagle.
I'm kidding. All right.
Vince Gill.
It's a layup there.
Cop out. Yeah. One more. Well, it's hard because there's going to be people I've met that ought to be up there that are going to feel left out. Morgan Wade. If I could write like anybody, I'd want to write like Morgan Wade. She's the friggin' man.
Dude, did you see? You saw that
Joan Jett.
I put that on my Instagram story the other day.
No.
I said Morgan Wade's the best storyteller of all time.
100%. for all the things she could say, like she could get the point across and it be way more gratuitous and it still makes sense, but she doesn't, and it's freaking catchy.
I know.
Like it's like freaking matches and metaphors. I mean, everybody likes Wilder Days. Run, can we fly somewhere for it?
She's so good.
Work, man.
She's good.
Yeah.
I'm in the DMs right now. I was like, because I want Morgan on the show.
Yes.
Like, hey, like,
yes.
Like she's great at what she does. So I followed her and she followed me back. I'm like, dude,
I remember
she's coming on the show. I hit her, hey, would love you on the show. I have nothing back yet.
I remember being at the Opry, and it was like, it wasn't like, I don't know if it was the next stage or something, but this woman comes up and just covered in neck tats. I'm like, I don't know who that is, but that's interesting. And I was working in an ammo factory. And I was like, well, I'm going to cut it on. And the first song I found was Mend. It's an acoustic version. I don't even know if I don't think the deluxe record was out yet of Reckless. But that's and I mean, there's plenty of songs I'm sure like it. It's the first one I'd ever heard where, turn that car around. You don't need to be leaving me now. Come to bed and I'll shut my mouth. I was like, I hear a lot of songs that, guys are doing that. Like, oh, might be, like, I'll shut up now. But I never heard one from a female perspective.
You just put her on your Mount Rushmore. I mean, that's
100%. I mean, really, if I could write like anybody, I'd write like Morgan Wade. Because when you look at country music, it's such a broader genre than it was, when I was coming up listening to the Heartland soundtrack, But country music is so much now, which I appreciate, is content over context. I think I said that right, in my opinion. What I mean by that is it's not so much anymore how you sing it, but it's what you're singing about. And as long as you don't bring your BS content from other genres, come on in. Like the door's open. You might hate Morgan Wallen with a passion, but you can't argue the content. You might be pissed at the presentation. You might be pissed at Post Malone's presentation, but you can't argue with what he's saying. It's the same thing anybody else has been singing about since, Hank Sr. kicked the thing off for all intents and purposes. But it's what you're singing about. Well, we can argue about how you set it up and whether you're playing in Texas with a fiddling band or not.
Yeah.
But that's the cool part that, when Florida Georgia Line came on, I thought it was like Satan incarnate as a kid being like, Daddy, let me drive. I was like, what is this? But it opened up so many people.
Dude, you kidding me? It's iconic.
To the genre.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, my bad.
It changed the game.
Yeah, 100%. And so that's, for me, I've known my whole life that this is what I was supposed to be doing. Didn't know film was going to happen. I could not be more thankful for it. But I knew that this was the desire of my heart, to be doing what I'm doing on the music side now.
So what's coming down the pipeline that you're like looking forward to, that you can obviously with
Elizabeth, we got Stagecoach.
Huge. Well, and Stagecoach, and aren't you going?
Yeah, we're doing, I know we're opening for Keith Urban on one of the C2C runs, which will be Rotterdam, Glasgow, Berlin, and London.
Yeah.
I don't know who we're opening for in the O2 Arena. Sorry. And all those are acoustic shows. So it's just me and her. And it's funny because there'll be some scat of some group of people in the audience that'll be screaming, I'm going to come at you like a spider monkey during some of those shows, which Elizabeth is gracious enough to still take me on the road when that happens. We've got those coming up. Next year is the 20th anniversary of Talladega Nights. So we're looking at a concert series with NASCAR, which will be killer if we, pull the trigger on it.
We need to figure. So, one of the shows under this company is Ross Chastain has a show called Ag to Asphalt.
Oh, bad.
So we have a NASCAR show under this. So maybe we can we'll figure out some brainstorming on that.
That'd be slick. That's something that's a big kind of thing on my heart now, because I never went to a race except for like when we filmed Talladega Nights at Talladega. until last year. So Ty Dillon, his wife, is an actress on the TV show I'm on. She was like, hey, you want to come to a race? I was like, yeah, no, nobody's ever really asked me to come to a race. And so I started going this year, and I love it.
It's the best.
We'll sit there. Sit there in a pit box, watch those friggin' ninjas of a pit crew get out there.
Oh.
They're all like NFL practice team behemoths. They're just boom, done. That's it.
The Nashville Skinny always rolls with us Ross and I to the Nashville race. You got to do that this year.
Yeah. I got to be there. I got to be there for this one. This is my first Nashville race.
Yeah.
Martinsville, I've been to Talladega twice, and the Nashville. Those are the only races I've been to. But again, I got to Talladega in April for the first time since Amy Adams was throwing me beads coming out of the school trailer, because the infield was our base camp.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around, and there's pictures of me as a 7-year-old with my Wonder Bread flight suit on in front of these trailers. And now there's 20 years later, there's a Ricky Bobby Talladega Nights trailer, and there's the Reese Bobby car with the Cougar in it. That's a set piece cut in half like we're at friggin' Dollywood for people to just hop in and take pictures with. And so to be a part of something that has that effect at home in the state that I'm from is a blessing.
Oh, it's one of those movies. It's the one-liner movie. Yeah. Like you could go on, like as you were talking, I was thinking about like the hey driver.
Yeah, drive these. I mean, there's probably conservatively 2,000 Halloween posts that were captioned, hey driver, drive these. 20 years later.
It's one of the most top one-liner movies out there.
Now, Talladega Nights was not the original title. It was originally, to my knowledge, it was Red, White, and Racing. And then they changed it. My script for Talladega Nights is High, Wide, and Handsome. That's what it was called. So all of our chair backs, like the little director chairs that you sit in, all had High, Wide, and Handsome on it. There was never a singular piece of merch, anything like letterhead from that film that said Talladega Nights on it. We didn't know it was going to be called Talladega Nights till a few months before it came out. Yeah.
Now, before I let you go, is there going to be a Talladega Nights 2?
Oh, I would love that. That would be awesome. If you do it right. I mean, I was really scared that they were going to screw up Naked Gun, because they just did the Liam Neeson, Pam Anderson one, and they killed it. So like my hope in, reviving franchises is bigger than what it used to be. I'd love that. That'd be freaking awesome, because I'm an actor still. so we can still do it.
You God rest his soul on the Houston, yes, but sir. There's like sometimes movies come out because of tragedies like that, because obviously y'all would do such a great job in what's the word I'm looking for? Like, praising him, celebrating his life. Absolutely. And you probably figure out about some of the proceeds going to his. I mean, it would be a beautiful
and that's something
thing
that I really want to tap into with the concert series as well, because you do not have Texas Ranger without Walker bringing stuff to life, and sometimes they knock them down, or they some things don't get released. I was with Hanks talking to him about Forrest Gump 2. Did you know that they had one? That they were going to shoot a second one?
I did not know that.
And after 9/11 happened, they didn't. They decided not to go through with it. It was going to have him in the back of the freaking Bronco with OJ going down the highway. And dancing with like Princess Diana. And it was like, how many other just incredible, classics did we not get because of things like that? I'm on a rabbit trail now.
No, that's a great point.
We can deviate, but I remember sitting there with him like, what could have been Forrest in the back of the
Bronco?
In the back of the Bronco.
Dude, we could talk for hours. I mean, I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you. Did we answer? No, we didn't even boot it. Sweet.
Now you get a brand
new pair of boots. I had to run the loops of my backpack through Skinny's because he was overweight on the way over here. So now I know that I can do that with these boots. I'm excited.
But you don't have to get them here. You can maybe when you get home, you can do that. You got a code. You just type it in. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, my friend.
I'm excited just to watch it because now I can maybe see you on the TV, maybe see you on stage.
Maybe. If y'all would follow me, I'd appreciate it. It's just Grayson, Grayson, C. Russell, 2 S and 2 L's. And so all my stuff is either we're doing Southern Rock and Go Cry Somewhere Else, or we're talking about Talladega Nights or Wimpy Kid. So hopefully there'll be something you can get a hold of, and I'm ready to get a hold of some of these boots.
Man, that was a great outro. Hey, as always, I appreciate y'all tuning in. We had Walker, Texas Bobby on the show today. Grayson Russell for you country music fans out here. And as always, every single Wednesday, I appreciate y'all tuning in to YouTube. Wherever you listen to your audio podcasts, go ahead and click the little button, the like button, maybe comment. Tell us what we talked about. We did right. Maybe some things that we shouldn't have talked about.
That Mount Rushmore, y'all can get into me on that. I'm prepared to defend myself.
Like that, as an example. Continue to share, subscribe, do whatever you got to do to be like a farmer.